right. So I wanted to go live with you guys this afternoon and just share a little bit of information as far as about myself. A lot of you guys have asked over the time of working with me, whether you're here in Lynchburg or back home outside of Lebanon or Bristol, Abingdon area, all over the country. Andy, what exactly is the Mountain Money Man and what are you doing? So today I wanted to share with you for just a little bit of time, a little bit about who I am and why I'm passionate about what I do. I'm going to use this for this week's podcast on Dream Achievers. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to go to your favorite podcast platform. It's on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, all those different ones. You can just search Dream Achievers with the Mountain Money Man. I'll drop a link down below from this video so that you'll be able to go to that as well. But I do that each and every week where I'm normally sitting down with local business owners, entrepreneurs, people that are making a difference here in the community, making an impact so that I can share their story with you. I do that because growing up, my grandfather, my mom's dad, retired off the railroad with a full pension at the ripe age of 37. I'm sure that there's a lot of you guys out right now that would absolutely love that, to retire at 37. It sounds like a dream. That wasn't enough for him. He actually went out and started a business, and I grew up in that family business. It was an auto parts store, Honaker Auto Parts in Honaker, Virginia. The building still sits there. Doesn't look quite the same as I remember growing up, but there was many a weekend spent sweeping floors, stocking shelves with motor oil, or just playing in the air filter boxes and everything that were in the side. But it was a wonderful childhood of growing up and seeing hard work. You had men and women coming into that store that their entire life's work depended upon us being able to serve them. So I took that to heart, and it really resonated with me as I continued to go through my working career. I graduated from Virginia Tech with a degree in hospitality tourism management. Exactly, I'm using that degree now. So thanks, Mom and Dad, for making sure that I went and applied myself at school. But I worked full-time while I was in school and graduated from Virginia Tech. And I laugh, I say that I got a business degree, but that degree was designed to learn how to deal with people. Hospitality is different, right? You could have learned to be a finance person and you just sit behind a computer. But for me, it was making sure that I was able to take care of people and learn what was going on. So for myself, as I've continued to grow through that, different iterations of my career, managed multi-million-dollar health clubs, moved back to Virginia to be closer to family on a trip that I'd come in around my birthday. My dad's mother at the time was still living, and she said, "Boy, it sure would be nice to have you back closer home." I was doing stuff like changing light bulbs in her house and stuff. It was small things to that, but it made me think on the way home that I wanted to get back closer to family. Wound up moving back home, and I sold cell phones for a while. It's the first thing that called me back and said that, hey, we'd love to have you, and I accepted that and did really well at that in the time that I was there. But kept having those heartstrings pull on me that, you know what, I want to do something again that when I lay my head on the pillow at night, that I feel like it's making a difference. And that's what led me to insurance and financial services. My next door neighbor growing up, Chance Miller, who I'll tag in this as well, he's now a State Farm agent in Roanoke, Virginia. But Chance had worked at the local State Farm in Lebanon, Virginia, and kind of trained and learned. I had a conversation with him. I was actually on a rewards trip with Verizon Wireless, and I can remember being in National Harbor there in Baltimore and having that conversation with him on the phone and saying, hey, tell me about this. And he was absolutely in love with being able to talk to people and help them out when it was in their time of need. I decided I was going to take a dive into this career and see what happened. We wound up moving from Lebanon, Virginia, after spending 2 years there in the local office and training, to opening our own office, our own State Farm office here in Lynchburg, Virginia, where I'm back at now. So we were over on Oakley Avenue. We were there for a little over a year. And it didn't work out for us to continue down that road. It was myself, my wife, had a team of folks around us that were helping out with that as well. But I prided myself on making sure that I was on the side of the person that I was helping. So I always wanted to make sure that if it was in somebody's best interest for them to do something different, that I would tell them that. Because of that, it's okay. I had to learn a life lesson that sometimes when you do that, it means that you have to take a different path for your dream. That path, we wandered for a little while to try to figure out what was that next step, and we wound up in Orlando, Florida for 4 years. For 4 years, we left in a U-Haul. It was myself, my wife, our cat, and our dog. And when we came back to Lynchburg after 4 years down there, it was a little more full. It was a little fuller as we were coming back up because we had added 2 beautiful little baby girls to come with us as well. So we've got Josie, we've got Grace. Josie's 3 now, Grace is 1. And Sarah, Josie, and Grace, that's why I do what I do as far as helping folks like yourself. I see my family in each family that I'm dealing with because you have a lot of the same problems or concerns that I had at one point in time. From somebody just trying to figure out, hey, how do we make sure that we're making enough money to make it by, to how do I get started to saving for retirement? There's a lot of stuff that pops up with that. But for me, what I enjoy the most is being able to see those aha moments. Those times when people finally kind of see like, oh my gosh, this is possible. I can do this thing that I wanted to do. That's what really gets me excited. So as you're working with someone like myself, a financial advisor that should guide you through, I really look at it that they should be able to help you out with more than just one thing. Not just investments, not just insurance. So when I'm working with someone, we start with it trying to figure out, number one, what is it that we're doing as far as income, cash flow on a monthly basis? Where's that coming from? And if you're closer to retirement, we're going to have to hit a point where we figure out how much of that money do I need to have still coming in when I retire to be able to sustain my lifestyle. So that's number one, looking at that and saying, hey, having that spending plan, having a budget. In fact, I've got a webinar coming up on that next Tuesday night, so I'm going to give myself a shameless plug there. If you haven't registered for it already, it's on the events page that would be to the side here on Facebook as I'm streaming this, or it's going to be in the show notes down below where you can register to be able to attend that. And if you can't make it live, you'll be able to watch the replay. About 30 minutes long, really help you out with some of the basic building blocks of creating a budget or a spending plan to really kickstart off your financial life. If we look at it, the next step is investments. That's what everybody gets excited for, right? When you talk about wealth management and wealth planning, everybody gets excited around investments. But it doesn't have that first seat. There's a reason that we start first with figuring out what our cash flow is, because that's going to help us know everything else that we need to do on the investment side. When am I going to actually need that money? And do I want to save it where it's going to be taxed forever, taxed in the future, or taxed now and never again? So we have those choices when we're doing that. We also want to look at it and try to have a tax minimization strategy. How can I pay the lowest legal amount of taxes to the IRS and keep as much money in my pocket? So we should have a plan around that. If you're not having those conversations with your advisor, shoot me a message. We can have a conversation and see why not, and what does that look like differently. The fourth part is going to be having a risk and protection plan. What do I mean by that? I mean, you probably have benefits at work. You signed up for them around October, November last year, or when you just started your new job. And it's looking at it and saying, hey, how about with my life insurance? Do I have enough coverage there? I don't come home tonight. Is everybody going to be okay? What happens if I just get sick or hurt and I can't work? Do I have any type of disability coverage to be able to protect my paycheck? Because for whatever reason, the power company doesn't take IOUs. You've still got to have the money to be able to pay them to make it with that. We look at a risk plan, making sure that if the market were to go down, if we had a big event like what we had last year in March, when the market had a steep downturn, luckily we came back out of that pretty quick, but nobody envisioned that at the time. It was like Chicken Little and the sky is falling. Everybody was like, this is the end. Oh my gosh, the market will never recover from this. We're going to have another 10 years of lost money and lost growth. But what actually happened, if you had a plan and you knew that you didn't have to immediately emotionally react to that, you were able to talk down off of the ledge and be able to have that that time on your side. There's also products and solutions that help people out that eliminate that market risk. That it prevents them being able to lose money with a portion of their overall. So we look at stuff like that to see how does that fit in your world. And then lastly, we look at having a estate plan. Estate planning is not just for when somebody's old and they're afraid they're going to die. If you own a house, if you have kids, you have somebody that you're responsible to, that's really when you need estate planning. So making sure that you have wills, trust, power of attorneys, or even just guardianship set up for your kids, it's those basic financial building blocks to be able to have a successful future. So when I'm working with folks, that's why I do what I do. So the Mountain Money Man, really, when it comes down to it, it's that I'm trying to take care of the people that help me over time. You know, those that helped raise me in the communities that I lived in. I want to be able to give back now. So giving you that information to help you have a successful financial future, to be able to help you out with getting a leg up, or maybe just an understanding where it's clear and easy for you to understand. That's why I do what I do. So I tell you, if you're not already, subscribe on YouTube, as well as your favorite podcast platform, whether it be iTunes, Google, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of those different ones. You can look up Dream Achievers podcast. It's Dream Achievers with the Mountain Money Man. And I'll have that link again down below for you so that you can subscribe to that. And that's where I interview local business people every single week. So I thank you guys for listening this week to my story and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I look forward to sharing with you in the future other people's stories from here in Lynchburg, Central Virginia, and Southwestern Virginia, the people that are making a difference and making an impact in their communities. Until next time, this is Andy Young, the Mountain Money Man.